A giant megalopolis to explore. Cybernetic enhancements. Futuristic hacking skills. And to top it all, Keanu Reeves as a rock star who lives inside your head.
Maybe we'll fit together after all.
Welcome to one of the most anticipated video games of the year, Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk for me as a sci-fi genre has always had something of an 80s vibe about it. Instead of adventures taking place in outer space, Cyberpunk is concerned with urban sprawls and cyberspace, dark futures blighted by environmental collapse and technology run rampant. Is any of this starting to sound familiar?
Well, let's put it this way, the cars don't fly. That's about it. Okay, let's see. We've got a plague. We've had some nuclear accidents. We've had short-term wars. We've had a lot of really amazing hacking exploits going on. Governments fold before corporations. We had corporations rise, fall, gut countries, and then move on. I personally know somebody who hires mercenaries for corporations in foreign countries. You know, all of this stuff, it's all there. So, if you're worried about living in a cyberpunk future, I suggest you look at the news.
The Cyberpunk game has its roots in pen and paper rather than pixels. Created in 1988 by Mike Pondsmith, it started life as a tabletop role-playing game. Pondsmith had a background in video games and managed to filter the films and books of the time into a successful role-playing franchise. And in doing so, he managed to predict much of the world we live in today.
It's just amazing what's out there. The problem becomes we don't know how to vet it. We don't know how to tell what's going to be true. For example, I wrote a variation of Cyberpunk called Cyberpunk V3, where its primarily message is about what happens when you have an information collapse and people are able to pick their own information to build their realities. So we have what's called culture conf, where people are fighting over my reality is better than your reality, and here's what really happened back in 1962 or something. But we're there. We're looking at it right now. Worldwide, people are rewriting realities, and there's nothing out there to really balance it out. And so people are going to have to become a lot smarter.
Pondsmith's tabletop fiction has been digitally realised by Polish developers CD Projekt Red, the team behind the hugely successful Witcher video game series.
CD Projekt Red are responsible for, of all the things in the past 10 years, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which is one of the most exciting, sprawling, huge RPGs that we've seen, and people absolutely love it.
When the pandemic hit, the developers carried on, completing their work from home. The game has been plagued by reports of crunch in its later stages though, with developers working a 6-day week in an effort to get the title completed on time for release. And even though work continued on the game, its release has been delayed several times. These delays have sparked anger on social media, in extreme cases led to threats being directed at the development team.
We try not to take in too much of the negative comments when they arrive. And of course, there are also situations which never can be really accepted, like some kind of threats and situations like those, which also happened, unfortunately.
So, has all of that effort on the part of the developers been worth it? Well, on first impressions, Night City certainly is a good-looking mashup of every cyberpunk visual trope. Rain, neon, and intricately detailed urban squalor, they're all here. Like the setting, missions draw on the history of the cyberpunk genre. Tech heists abound. Combat can be approached different ways via stealth and using technology, or the player can choose a more direct, let the boomstick do the talking approach, or a combination of all of these things. Cybernetic upgrades enhance the player's body, improving your chance of survival in Night City. Something else which is less fun are the bugs, which isn't really surprising considering the size and detail of the world and the effect of the pandemic on developers working from home. Patches will no doubt follow, but more worrying are reports of flashing lights at particular sections of the game, inducing an epileptic seizure in one reviewer. The game's developers have responded by saying they'll add an additional splash screen warning about potential triggers. And they've created an alternative visual effect replacing the one which has caused this problem, and will change it via an update. So far, Cyberpunk 2077 is an ambitious and good-looking example of an open-world FPS, but it's not without its problems.